right, it's 2021. You either started a business during 2020 or you survived 2020 with a business, maybe just barely intact. So what next? Today in the podcast, I've got 5+ tips about what to do next and how to focus your business to be successful this year. Welcome to the podcast with Kylie Nichols. The goal of this podcast is to inspire you through both my story and the stories of other powerhouse women to take that first step towards living the best version of your life. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, and get ready to get started with Kylie Nichols. Hey everybody, happy Friday. I'm Kylie and you are listening to the With Kylie Nichols podcast. Hope you are all excited for the weekend. We've had a couple of summer weekends now. It's been really fun with swimming with the kids and being outside and getting the first sunburns of the summer and all of that. So looking forward to some more of that tomorrow. But today on the podcast, I wanted to kind of do a follow-up episode to an episode we did last year. During the pandemic, pretty early on, we did an episode that was about what should you do as a business during the pandemic? How do you handle this? How do you survive? And so I laid out a few tips that we were working on here at Nichols & Wade and that I felt were a good use of time and energy and a way to make things still work during a pandemic. So some of those were making it easy for customers to do the right thing. So making it really easy for them to purchase. Some of them were working on the foundational items that you really need to get done in your business so that if you didn't have a website before, now you do. If you didn't have social media before, now you do. Like there was kind of a great opportunity to work on some things that maybe you hadn't had time to set up in your business yet and learn about those things and kind of figure out a strategy for them. So hopefully that's how you spent some of your time. I know a lot of us were just kind of hanging on for the year. I think for us at Nichols & Wade, we did do some of those things. And then also just continued to move forward and plan ahead and plan for the future. So really excited. Here in the Midwest, the pandemic has really lightened so much. Lots of vaccinations, very, very low hospitalization. So things are feeling much more free and open here. And so as a business owner now, I'm looking at, okay, how are we going to move forward now? What's our strategy for post-pandemic? I know the pandemic's still happening in many other parts of the world. We've tried to do a few things where we can help organize donations to support certain causes around the world to continue to help those efforts. But what are we going to do here now that we have all these opportunities and kind of a road forward? So I wanted to focus today on giving a few suggestions for what I think businesses should be focusing on right now after the pandemic and what we're working on here at Nichols & Wade now that we're in 2021. It's no longer 2020. It's still hard to believe that. So, okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is really just executing things well. I think right now is the time to be on your A game. Customers are coming out of their homes. They're going back to work. They're going out shopping again. They're trying out restaurants again. Whatever business you own, you kind of have a new, fresh start with a lot of people right now. And so it's time to have your A game on, time to do things right, to execute really well, to pass the baton perfectly throughout your organization so that what you do, you're doing a good job at. And it's a great experience for the customer every single time. So that's one of the things we're working on here is really how can we be incredibly consistent? Where are the things we're having a hard time being consistent in, or where things always break down in the process? And let's find those things and fix them. So do the things that you worked on during the pandemic. Really execute on those foundational things and do a good job at them. The second one is to try new things. So we've got a good base. You know what you're doing. You know how to do what you do. But now is also a good time to start trying new things. Life isn't exactly the same as it was before the pandemic. Style has changed. What people eat, I think, has shifted a little bit. Like how we go to entertainment or get entertainment has changed. There are things that have changed. So as a business, it's a great time to try something new. So could be something as simple as selling your product in a little bit of a different format. So tomorrow we had a new collection launch this week actually, and we are trying out being able to build your own ear stack. So you can add 3 different earrings to your ear, whether it's an ear cuff, a double piercing, and your first piercing, and see what that looks like. And you can add them all to your cart at the same time. So you can kind of build or create your own little perfect stack, and you can see that on the website. We've never done that before, and we're going to try it. We tried it out. We're going to see how it goes. And that helps the customer easily visualize the earrings. We also would like to try, and I don't have a timeline on this yet, but we are looking at trying to add skin coloring, like different skin tones to our website for each different earring. So there would be a way to see each color earring on different skin tones. And that's something that our customer talks about, wants to see. The color matters. How does it look against my skin? And so how can we kind of visually present that? So just brainstorming different ideas about how the customer can interact with us and interact with our website, and then trying them out and just in a small way, see how it goes. We're also looking at adding a rewards program for customers. That's something we've talked about for a long time, but really digging in and saying, how would that work? And let's do it. So those are really simple things that work in our business. But I think, if you have a restaurant, maybe it's trying a menu item you've never tried before. I think surprising and delighting your customers is still very relevant. Another thing that I would say businesses really need to focus on right now is personalization. A personal experience with a brand is critical for customers to really be loyal and be excited and stay with you. So we are looking at that ourselves. How does a customer interact with us? How do they know that we know who they are? And what are the different touch points that we can do that at? But, I really like when I go somewhere and someone knows me. I mean, I go to a nail salon and it's my nail place. And every time I go in, I feel like they know me. And it just feels so good. They know everybody, but it feels so good that they know me. And they know what I like, and they can suggest something. And so just like we love those experiences in our hometown and in the places that we frequent, how can businesses create that for their customer? Just having a little pop-up on a website, or when they arrive at your place of business, you have their name written down on something and you're ready for them. So just different ways to say, how can I create a personal experience for each customer in a way that makes sense? The next one I would say is really important right now. As things are opening up and people are deciding where to spend their money, I think it's really important as a business to watch your costs. So maybe this is really important during the pandemic, actually, because nobody was sure when money was coming in or where it was coming from. But it continues to be something that I think all businesses should really pay attention to. You may struggle to get more customers. You may struggle to get more money, more revenue right now for whatever reason, but you can always watch your costs. So working on cutting your costs down and making sure you're executing as well as you can with as low cost as possible is going to really make a difference for whenever more customers come or whenever more money comes in. It's always going to be a benefit. So watching your costs is important. I would also say something that I've been focusing on right now is saying yes to opportunities. So there should be more opportunities coming your way right now. More people knocking on your door, more people asking for suggestions, more people saying, hey, come do this with us. And I think being really open and saying yes to things is what's going to lead to more doors being opened. I can't say yes to everything, but I think for myself, I tend to say, but what if, or I don't know if that's for us, or I don't know if I would want to do that. I tend probably to say no to more things, or to at least hesitate. But I think if you want to grow, if you want to be more well-known, if you want to just have more opportunities, you have to say yes to the opportunities that get presented to you, and then more will come. So say yes to opportunities you have, and more opportunities will continue to come. That's been particularly relevant for me, just even with this podcast and with speaking events and speaking engagements. Like, speaking things are coming back up. Some of them make me really nervous. Some of them don't. But if I can say yes to every single thing, then I'm going to be more prepared for the next one. So, I've recently spoken to high school classes on Zoom, or middle school classes, and it's just a great opportunity to take 20 to 30 minutes to speak to a small audience, and you never know who's in the audience or who it'll impact or how it'll make a difference. But then it also gives me practice to say yes to even a bigger opportunity. So I think saying yes to opportunities that are either small or at least appear small, or big opportunities are really another way to grow and to thrive post-pandemic. This kind of leads to the next one, which is talking to people. It is so important to talk to other people. It is so important to talk to other business owners. First, sometimes for a sanity check, sometimes for suggestions, sometimes to find out what's working for them. Networking, talking to people, getting out of your own space, getting out of your own head is so important to grow and figure out how to pivot post-pandemic. I think now this world is a little different. Businesses may be running differently. Things maybe aren't working that used to work. Thinking about Instagram and how hard it is to grow a following on Instagram right now. And it appears the only way to grow an Instagram following is to have incredibly hilarious and engaging reels. And that's a struggle for a lot of people, myself included. Reels are a new skill set that takes time, it takes practice, and it seems to work, but it's also hard to do. So I think talking to other businesses and being like, how are you finding growth? How are you, okay, if reels are the way we have to do it, what's working for you? How are you doing that? Or how are you getting in front of new customers in a different way? So as social media continues to evolve, as the way people shop continues to evolve, I'm thinking about ad spending. During the pandemic, so many businesses poured money into digital ads. So Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, it is such a huge industry now, and way less into print. Obviously, we hardly use print ad anymore, but it's just digital has grown so much that it's a really crowded space right now. So it's okay, is that the best way to spend money to try to get in front of people? Or should we go with influencers, or should we go with the PR route? And I think talking to other businesses to say, what's working for you? What are you trying? Gives you the benefit of seeing all the new things other people are trying, and maybe decide if you want to try that for yourself too. So, the last one that I think is important to talk about right now is relating to hiring and kind of the shortage of labor right now and how hard it is to hire for a lot of industries. We've kind of experienced both sides. We've had some jobs that we've put up and we've had a ton of applicants for, and then we've had other jobs we've had very slim, not many applicants for, and kind of trying to navigate that and figure that out. It is not very, part of recruiting and hiring I do enjoy. I actually do enjoy meeting people and talking to people and talking about the industry with them, but it's exhausting. It takes a lot of time recruiting and hiring and onboarding people. It's a big to do. And so if you own a business and you have employees, I think a really important thing right now is to take care of the employees that you do have. So there's tons of debate about why there's a labor shortage, and I'm not going to necessarily go into that. I do think a lot has changed during the pandemic. I think people's careers have changed. I think where they work, how their family setup looks like. There's a lot of different things. But how can you take care of the people that you do have? I think is so important. I talked about hiring, and we've had a really a harder time hiring for retail jobs, which is a lower paying job, and we much less applicants, whereas when leadership jobs, we've had way more applicants to weed through. So I think there's kind of this weird balance of who's out in the work, who's looking for work right now. So it's been hard to weed through so many people, and it's also been hard to say, how do we get more folks to come work in retail? How do we make this a great environment and have perks that make sense? So of course we have discount on products, which is great. We have we've added a lot of benefits in the last year. Honestly, we've added a maternity plan. That's an amazing maternity plan. We've added 401k. We've added we have everything with health insurance. So I think short-term disability, looking at adding as many benefits as you can, which is really hard to do as a small business. It's very expensive actually to add all these benefits, but I'm trying to say this investment will help us get good people and keep good people is definitely my mentality. How to balance all of that is always a struggle. So I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but having benefits, having people know what their job is and how they can be successful in their job, that's also hard to do when you're building a business. It's hard to really create a perfect, here's what I need you to do and here's what success looks like, but it's super critical. So that's something we're working on. Also working on having just the culture be one that's fun and empowering and optimistic, where we have birthdays that we celebrate, and we bring the dogs to work, and we have birthday celebrations and try to shout out accomplishments and fun things outside of work too. So I think it's all kind of a combination to try to make a great environment for employees where they feel successful and they enjoy it. By no means am I the expert, but we can all do a little bit better in all of those things, and it makes everybody's life a little bit better. So we really need to be looking out for each other. We really want to retain the great people we have. How can we do that? So I'd encourage you, if you have any employees, to really make that a focus as well, because it's more of a preventative measure, because you really want to keep those people and you want to keep the goodness that you have. And then you can focus on the hiring and the bringing people in, and retaining people will be that much easier. So, I hope that the shortages that we're all seeing, and, there's supply shortages, there's labor shortages, all the things, those aren't going to go away anytime soon. So I think trying to figure out how to navigate that for ourselves and how to make the best of the situation, it really calls into that same value that we had to use through the entire year of 2020, which is optimism and really just believing that the right thing will happen, the best thing will come, and we're just going to continue to do our best. So yeah, so in a post-pandemic world, running a business, just to recap a little bit, you got to execute well. You got to do what you're doing, what you know how to do, the best way possible. You got to try new things. Trying new things will always be rewarding. You will either learn or you'll learn some more. Focus on personalization. Create a personal experience for your customers. Watch your costs. Say yes to opportunities. Talk to people. Go talk to people. Go learn more. And then take care of the people that you do have. They're who are helping you make it through every day, and really build what you've already built. So I hope these tips help. Let me know if you own a business, or if you are managing or working in a business and trying to navigate some of this post-pandemic stuff. Would love to hear your tips and suggestions on what's working for you. You can leave it in the comments on YouTube, or in the comments on Facebook or Instagram. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening today to With Kylie Nichols. I hope that today you felt empowered to take one more step towards living the best version of you. Tune in next week for another episode, and in the meantime, you can find us elsewhere on the internet. You can find me on Instagram at Kylie Nichols and at Nickel and Suede. You can also find us at nickelandswade.com. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.